Thank you for coming. We're just going to wait just a couple of seconds here to let all the attendees in. The number is still growing, so we'll wait till that stops for a moment and then we'll get started. All right, seems like we're starting to level out. So I think we will get started. Thank you all so much for being here today to our first Parent Schoology session. I am excited that you've joined us. We are here to talk a little bit about parent access and how parents can use Schoology as a really powerful tool with their kids and for themselves to follow their child's education and to learn more about what's going on with them in their school. Joining me on the panelist today is Jen Lawson, and Jen is a teacher for Northville Schools. And she is currently as well serving a dual role for us as one of our Schoology coaches. So she works directly with our teachers on troubleshooting and building content and finding ways to use Schoology and new and creative opportunities. Also, we'll be doing some parent trainings here and there and some posting of things for parents. We'll talk a little more about kind of where that will be in a few minutes. Jen, do you want to say hi? Because they can't see your face unless you talk. So if you speak, they can see you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jen Lawson. It is nice to meet you. I've been a teacher here in the district for a few more years than I would like to admit, over 20. I am excited to be in this new role and to help you as parents and teachers as well and students. So reach out if you've got questions and I'll be here to help. Nice to see you all.
Thank you, Jen. And she's going to be here as well, sharing. Both Jen and I are both parents in the district as well. So we actually have our own parent accounts that we will be using as examples today. So you get a chance to see real live parent examples. I do want to let you know that today will be hosted as a webinar in a Q&A fashion. So we're going to go through a lot of material. It will be recorded. So if you need to go back and see it again, we'll post it so that you can hear the answers again, so you don't have to keep track of everything that we talk about, because we are going to cover a lot. But if you have questions along the way, if you would look on that bottom bar and see the Q&A button with the two little air quotes above it, if you click on that, you can type your questions in. They go directly to us, and we have someone here helping us manage that Q&A. If we answer your question in the process of our presentation, we won't address it again, but certainly if we miss a question or there's a question asked that we didn't plan to cover, we will make sure we leave some time at the end to go through those questions. Obviously, if there's a question that's duplicated, we'll answer it once. And if your question is answered live, meaning we answer it out loud, you won't see that on your end because you'll have heard it and it'll be recorded. But if we answer it in text version, one of our assistants here who are working with us, if they answer it, you'll see it on your end, but rest assured we see every question regardless. So let's get started. I do want to go ahead and share my screen with you and walk you through some of this great stuff that we have today. So hopefully you can see my screen and you are seeing ClassLink now. So we want to start with really just back up for just a moment and make sure everybody's really comfortable with the aspects for students. We're going to cover mostly parents, but I want to cover one thing real quickly. For your student, this is a really important distinction. We use a program called ClassLink. And I heard a principal describe it really well as it's kind of the fence that surrounds all the resources we use. And inside of it are all the important stuff like Schoology. But everybody needs to go through the gate in order to get to all the resources. So it's important that students log in each day through ClassLink. And you will know that if you get into ClassLink that you're going to get into everything else that you need. You won't run into any problems. And when I sign into ClassLink as a student, it will automatically log me into all the programs and resources that my teacher has available. Now your child may not see all of these. I got all kinds of buttons that not everyone has. But most importantly, I have a Schoology button, and when I press on Schoology, it's going to take me directly to my Schoology account. And you'll see it'll automatically log me in, and it'll make me available, and I'm in the program and ready to go. So I just want to make sure we clarify that and make it clear that students should go to my.classlink.com/NPS, and that /NPS is important because otherwise you're just in regular old ClassLink world, and they don't know that you belong to Northville School. So my.classlink.com/NPS will take you directly to our ClassLink page that you just saw me enter, and that will give me access to all of these resources. In order to see the parent version, you're going to go to Schoology.com. And I want to be really clear that parents must go to Schoology.com. If you try to log in your child's Schoology account, maybe they just logged out, they're going to be on a different page. So you need to navigate to Schoology.com. If you try to log in on their log out screen, it's not going to let you in because they're under a different umbrella as a student here. You're going to log into Schoology.com. So you want to make sure that you go to Schoology.com. You don't want to use any other website as a parent. If you have questions about any of the stuff that's going on, we'll continue to post. We have started a page specifically for Schoology and ClassLink. And so if you go on the front page to starting the school year, you'll see the very first link here is a Schoology and ClassLink website where we've begun to put information about ClassLink, the videos we've shared, the webinars for today, and information that we continue to share out, including likely these webinars right now will be posted there for you to see. So we're going to spend the majority of our time today in Schoology as a parent. So we're going to go to Schoology.com and get rid of all this other stuff out of the way. We're going to log in, and I'm going to log in as a parent today. And you're going to see my children, and since they're my children, it's okay that you see their names because I'm giving permission. We would never show student information otherwise, but since I'm dad, I can do that. So I've gone to Schoology.com. I've logged in using my username and password. And actually, let me take one step back and make sure if you haven't created an account and you go to Schoology.com, it's very simple. You click on login. Oh, it's not going to let me today because I already have an account, but it's going to pop up. The very first thing it's going to say, enter your access code. You were emailed an access code, one for every one of your children if you have multiple kids. If for some reason you didn't receive those access codes, you can contact the instruction department or any of the schools that your children attend, and they have those access codes at their disposal. They can give them to you over the phone. You'll put that access code in and click enter, and then it will allow you to set up an account and automatically connect you to your kids. Once you are in Schoology.com, you'll have the opportunity to add additional children. Oh, I'm going to log in as my employee again. When you log in the first time, your screen will pop up like this once you put your access code in and build your account. And under your name up in the upper right corner, you would click the words Add Child, and this access code button will come up again. That's where I put the second access code or the third access code. And every time I put one in, it will add that extra child to my account. So you can see in my case, I've added 2 children because I have 2 children here at Meads in Northville. And they were both added in so that I'm all under one account. My wife and I both have our own accounts, but we both have our 2 children. Your parent access code works 3 times. So it can be you and a significant other, or someone who takes care of them. Maybe grandma's working with them in some of this work and you want her to have access. You can use that code up to 3 times. So you can add that code to someone else if you choose to. Of course, once you give them the code, they have the code. So make sure you're careful with giving that out. So once I'm on this dashboard, I do want to share with you a little bit about what are the features. So when you log in, you're not going to see this. I have a course here that I signed in as a parent accidentally. So you won't see anything here. It'll be blank. That's completely normal. This is a course that our teachers take as they're learning Schoology. But you will see our courses, groups, resources. You will not see grade report here. And these buttons along the side here, which we'll go over. And you'll see here there are 2 tabs, course dashboard and recent activity. Now I have all this recent activity because I have this course assigned to me. You won't. Yours will be blank, and that's okay. As a parent, you don't have any courses yet. You don't have any groups yet. You're not involved in anything yet as a parent. We'll show you how to do that as a kid though. So I do want to walk through the buttons though. So in this courses tab, you would have any courses you've enrolled in. And in the future, and again, I want to reiterate, this is all new and there are 100,000 things that we're going to be able to do with Schoology, but all of them won't be done overnight. But I do want to let you know about the possibilities that are coming. So under courses might be a parent course that we send a join code out for you to join as a parent. You can get in there. Some of our teachers have already begun to do some of that work. They'll send you a code that's just for parents and you can log in and it'll show up here as a course, just like this Schoology course does for me. There also is a lot of potential with groups. I don't have any now, but we've had the PTAs already ask, can we build groups? Absolutely. We can build a PTA group for your school. You can give that join code out to others and you can join a group and you'll be able to interact and host your PTA stuff back and forth in Schoology so parents are all in one place. Eventually, you'll have access to resources And in resources, you're going to find a few things that are important. Anything that we decide to put out to parents as a whole. And you'll also be able to track your groups here. So if you had a PTA group, it would be on the list. You're also going to have access to any school your child's in. So I have Northville High School, and I will have Meets Mill if I switch to my daughter. I'll show you in a minute. But you would have access here to anything that the high school's posted. So as our schools start to use this more as a school-wide tool, you'll start to see things here as well potentially that you will use. You can also host your own personal resource. You find something great you want, you can add it to your resources and keep it for later. Maybe there's something that a teacher put out, you just absolutely want to make sure you have a copy of it. You can add your own stuff, even if you wanted to put something like, I'm going to put all their schedules right here so I have them all in one place. You can add stuff yourself to your own course. And this is your course. This is your portal. So everything here is about mom and dad. Okay. Along this top row here, search not really going to mean much to you right now because there's nothing to search. But if you were looking for something in particular that was in your courses or your account, that would be right here. You have a calendar here as well. This is your calendar. So you can track a calendar here if you wanted. You can add resources. You can put things in here that you want. And then you have messages, which is really important. And this is where any communications that the teacher sends you directly as a parent are going to show up. So think of it as your email in Schoology. So some of your teachers may have done this already, others may not have done so yet, but they can push out messages to parents all in one email if they choose to by class or individually to parents if that's what they decide, or to students, by the way. And then you'll have notifications, and this is depending, we'll show you how to turn on your notifications in a moment, but this is where you would see any notifications you've requested to be told about. I don't have any right now personally for me because no teachers have sent much to parents at this point, but I'll show you what it looks like for our kids in just a moment. So we'll go back again. If you click on the Northville tree, it'll always take you back home. So I'm back to the front page here.
Aaron, can I ask you a Aaron, can I ask you a question? I have a parent that's wondering about your account, and your parent account, it's only showing Northville High School, but not your Meads Mill child. Other parents are experiencing the same thing with kids at different schools. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so you should be assigned to the school. So my account is assigned to most everyone in the district is assigned to Northville Public Schools. And because we have a parent domain of Northville High, because all of our students are Mustangs at some point, many parents are going to see that as well. But when you go to your child's account, which we'll talk about in a few moments, it should switch your school. You're going to see that it's not accessible in your parent section. It's not going to show up there, but it should show up with your student. We'll walk through that in just a moment when we switch gears to them. So on your account, you should see Northville Public Schools for sure. And you may see Northville High School potentially as an umbrella, but you'll want to go to your student themselves individually. And I'll show you how to get to all the schools as we move along as well, if you choose to go and look at other things. All right, so calendar messages, notifications for parents. So not a lot here right now, but we expect that to be more in the future. And let's talk about the drop-down menu. So this is your account always listed at the top. And then all these same options should be available to you with your children listed here after your name. A couple of things here, your profile. You can build a profile. You can add your own photo, just like a social media platform. You can write a bio about yourself. People can search for you and they can see about you. So you're an active part of this organization. Again, you can leave it just like this and nobody sees anything. It's your choice how much you want to add. Your students also can add their own profile. So that is an option for you. Click edit here and you can make the changes that you want and become part of that organization. Secondly, you'll have the high school here, in this case because that's the one that I have default to, but you'll also see all the other schools here. So if I wanted to go to Meads, I can do so. And I can see what other schools are up to. It's always going to default to Northville High School because all of our kids fall under that umbrella at some point. Like Mr. Koski likes to say, everybody becomes a Mustang. But you can see the other schools here on the right-hand side. So that's available here in this kind of school tab. And then the most important one that I really want to spend a couple of minutes on is the settings. These are your account settings. This is only about you. It's not about your kids. It's all what mom and dad want to see. So your account settings are here. You can add a title to yourself if you'd like to be addressed differently or you'd like it to show up as Mr., Dr., or Mrs., whatever you choose. Right now, it's just defaulting your first and last name. You can change your email. You can also provide an alternate email. This email address that you provide is the one where any messages will get sent to. Whenever a teacher messages you, it will go to Schoology, but it will also send an email with that same message to this email address. You can choose your time zone if you wanted to change it for some reason, and you can set your default account. So mine is right now set to main. You can set it to child activity, and that was what it will open up to. You can also change your password, and you also can link your calendars. If you use Outlook or Google, you could link them to your calendar here. For some reason you wanted to have your personal calendar in Schoology because you just love the platform and it all makes sense to be in one spot, you can do that. I would not suggest linking accounts. You really don't have to. And then one of the things on the bottom here, we've defaulted the entire district to recent activity, and that's what I would encourage, but you can change it. And I'll click it and I'll show you why. Because when you go to the first page, whatever you pick is what's going to show up here when you log in. So it was set to course dashboard. This is what I see. It's kind of redundant because your courses are up here too. So I have it defaulted to recent activity, but you can change yours in those settings down below. This notifications tab is really important because those notifications where that bell is, this is where all of that happens. So you tell us what you want to be notified about and what you don't want to get notifications about. So you can identify, I want to hear when there's an update to a course, when there's comments or assignments, comments on my posts. You can choose all of these things and decide what you do and do not want to be notified about. Now, obviously, if you turn them all on, you can expect a lot of notifications. There are constantly activity going on, so you decide what level at which you want to have that notification. You can also set up text messaging if you choose. That's your choice. It's going to default to email because that's what you've provided, but you can set that up for yourself if you'd like to. You also be able to set your privacy, but I would not recommend changing these unless for some reason you do not want others, like if PTAs wanted to talk to other PTAs, if you turn this to school or no one, they won't find you. They're never going to be able to see you. So if you don't want yourself to be out there and people to be able to search for you within the Schoology organization, you can make it only your school, which means the school that you're attached to, or no one can see it. I just don't want to be on someone's profile. You can change that as well. Recycling bin is wherever if you trash something and you have regret, you can go back and find it here temporarily. I don't know exactly how long it stays, but I do believe it is for quite a few days at least. So that is parents. This is all, again, this is just mom and dad's page. This is probably not where you'll spend the majority of your time. Most of what you're going to want to do is going to be in your child's account. So we'll move there in just a moment. Then I'm going to ask Mrs. Lawson to kind of step in some of these things and share kind of her perspective as a teacher. Because the student stuff is really, you know, what she lives and breathes every day. So what she's been doing with her own students in class. So we're going to switch gears and I'm going to choose one of my children. I'll pick my high schooler. He is a sophomore this year. And again, when I log in, it looks just like mine, except it's got a lot of stuff in it because school started and now things are happening. So again, up here, you have the exact same thing, student activity or enrollments. So these are all his courses this year. I will tell you that the second semester courses will disappear soon. They were not supposed to be loaded, but we're working on that. So they'll disappear soon. You'll just see first semester courses, but you'll see all of his courses here, or you can, again, student activity, which shows you whatever teachers have done recently, it's going to post here. And anything they push out to you, I want to make sure that kids and parents see. On the right-hand side, you're always going to find recent grades. Anything that's overdue, which by the way is one of the notifications you can set so that you get notified if there's anything that was due that didn't get turned in. You'll automatically get a notification that it was late, which I know our kids just have no chance anymore of getting away with anything. We have full control of that now. And then here is all the upcoming stuff. As teachers start to set assignments or links or important calendar events, it'll all be listed here. And what you're seeing is what your child's seeing. If you notice up here, it says you are viewing as, this is exactly what they look like when they log in. So you are seeing your child's perspective and you have access to all of that with a couple of exceptions, and we'll talk about those in just a minute. So you're seeing exactly what your child sees. Again, here are all my courses. And I will say that some of our high schoolers, if you don't, this only holds 12. And so since we have second semester courses in there, if you haven't reordered them, no, it's not going to show me because I'm a parent. I forgot about that. If you haven't reordered them, it's only going to show you the first 12. So you want to click on my courses, which if I were a student, it would show me all of those things. Because I'm enrolled in a class, it's taking me to my courses. But here are all the students. Ms. Lawson, what would you like to add here? What are the important things that you think parents should know about here?
One of the things you can do as a parent is you can view your students' assignments as well, but you do not have access to submit those assignments. So there are options for you to view the assignments, see what your students are working on. From here, you can email teachers as well. The big takeaway is looking at those recent grades. It shows you really what's been graded, but I think, for me as a parent, the overdue and the upcoming is really great for me to help my child. She's in 4th grade, and with the time management and to look. And so there are so many great options here. And the teachers are working on learning all of these new features. And I am just beyond impressed what these teachers have done in such a short amount of time. But the big takeaway really is to look at those recent grades, overdue, and using those calendars to help kind of keep track of those assignments. Now, if you are getting, when you go to click on an assignment, and it says access denied or private, that just means the link to that assignment has been set to Northville Public Schools only. So if you click on an assignment and get an error, it's just because of how the assignment was linked, and that can be changed. So if you look, thank you, it says private access only. It's just because that assignment has been set only to be opened by an NPS account.
And we are working with teachers to make sure they know those things. Again, they're all learning all of this, in just the last couple of weeks themselves. So as we become more fluent, we'll have those kinds of things worked out with teachers to say, don't forget when you make an assignment to change it to, unless it is something for some reason it can't be viewed by the full public, to make sure you choose anyone with a link instead of anyone with Northville Schools, because that's kind of what
one of the issues that we found we are running into is that sometimes students can't view the assignments. The big thing that I want to stress is make sure when your student logs into Google that they're actually in their Google account and not a parent or a brother or sister or sibling, so that the student, just like Mr. Boffman there, is logged into Google. Make sure the student is logged into Google and then logs into ClassLink, because sometimes they won't talk to each other. And so they'll get a permission denied, and it's just because the student isn't logged into their Google account. So when you log into ClassLink or even Schoology, make sure you're logged into Google and then go through ClassLink. That's going to be the biggest takeaway here as well, just to make sure that those two talk to each other. So if there's any issues with that, double check first that the student's logged into their Google account.
And this is a security feature so that others aren't accessing your child's information. So they have to log into Google because we're a Google district, and that's how we protect to make sure that the right people are accessing the material. So, it's an important safety feature, but it's there to protect everyone. So let's talk a little bit about these pieces. So obviously the courses are here, and let's say I'm interested in my son's English 10A class. It takes me right to his 10A class. I'm seeing everything he's seeing. And again, as Jennifer shared, I can drill down to see what my students are doing. The only thing I can't do is I can't submit things. I'm a viewer, I'm an observer, but I am seeing it the way my child would see it. So I can see everything that they see and do everything that they can do except for submit. And I will tell you, I had an example, I think here. I'm gonna find the right class. I wanna show you one of the safety features as well, so parents can rest easy. I think it was in English. Let's double check. Yeah, right here. So this is a discussion board that a teacher started. She put a question up, and this is in one of the features of Schoology that kids can discuss with teachers even when they're not live with them. They can ask them to complete something. And you'll notice here that it says anonymous. That's because I'm logged in as a parent. They want to make sure that you don't have access to other child's information. So if you were logged in as a student, you'd see your classmates here, but as a parent logging in, viewing as a student, it's a safety feature. We don't want other people to have access to who the comments are being made, but you can at least see what the question was, and certainly your child's will show up here if they have already submitted that discussion. You would see yours, just not anyone else's. But again, the courses tab will take you to the courses. You can click on any of them. Obviously, second semester courses are empty because they're not being done yet, so you can ignore those other 8 courses, just focus. And I have reordered my courses. We sent an email out to the high school families on how to reorder them so that my son's first semester courses are the ones on top. Again,
Erin, can I ask you a couple of questions on some of the things that you've gone over?
Go ahead.
So here's a question about what you were just talking about. Can a parent reorder classes on their site, or does the student have to do that?
It has to be done in the student account because it's their courses. So you would have to go in you would have to log in as them through ClassLink. And then when you go to courses and my courses, which I don't have a whole lot here, but right here where it says reorder, this is exactly what theirs looks like, except it has all of their 16 courses here. I would click reorder courses and I would drag and drop them around in the order I want them. And then when I'm happy with them, I just push the X and they'll be reordered. So it's a pretty quick process, but you do have to do it in your child's account.
Okay. Next question, on notifications. So some of our parents are getting notifications for electives or specials that are not their children's class, like the lower grade electives. How can they turn those notifications off?
So that should go away. Right now, you have students, because students were put in, you have classes on your child's account in elementary for humanities that may not be applying to them. We are working to remove those because our humanities teachers built their classes a little differently. So you know which one to go to, but you do have some extras. And so when teachers are sending things out, you might be getting them, but that should go away. I will tell you that you can either turn the notifications on or off. You can't turn them off for some classes and on for others. It's either on or off for your kid. So you will have to leave them on if you want to get the rest of them, but hopefully when we clean up the rest of those, we're expecting the next day or two to have those gone, including the second semester courses. That'll stop. You won't be getting those notifications. If you continue, just let us know because there may be something on the back end that needs to be corrected. If you continue to get those notifications, just make us aware of it. And you can send an email, certainly to the instruction department, to myself, which is on the website, or you can always send it to nps@northvilleschools.org and that will get routed to us appropriately.
Another question about humanities. So I have a parent that's noticing all the humanities classes are only showing up in her parent view of Schoology and not when she's viewing Schoology of the student.
So when she's logged in as a parent, but viewing as a child.
When she's logged in as a parent, the humanities classes are showing up, but not when she's viewing it as the Schoology student.
I would ask if you just send us an email, take a look, because it may be an individual situation. Typically, your humanities classes should be ones you joined. Your child would have put a join code in. So when you go to courses and my courses as a child, you would see the exact same screen. You would have clicked join a course and you would have put the code in that your classroom teacher gave you for PE, art, music, and world language and clicked join, and then you would have added to your child's account. If you haven't done that process yet, that's why they're not showing up on your child's account. And the ones you're seeing, maybe those ones we're cleaning up. So if you have an individual though, please just email us and we'll take a look at the account and see if there's something wrong.
Is there a place on the Schoology screen where a parent or a student can click if they need help?
There is a support page on the very bottom. If you click on support here, it's going to take you to the Northville webpage. So that's not the full help that you want, but there is a help center here on the bottom right. So I click that S down here in the bottom right corner. It'll take you to Help Center and you can search an article for whatever you're looking for. Like I need help with how to submit an assignment. I put the word submit in and it will start to return results for articles, how to submit tests and quizzes, how to review and submit it. Oh, if I want to drill down more, I could even put submit test and it will find articles specifically about that. So you can search any of those issues. There's thousands of articles here. So if you've got the problem, someone probably already did as well, and you'll be able to get it solved here. If it's an account issue, it won't be solved here. You'll need to let us know. But if it's just a, I don't know how to, you can search the Help Center and get that help.
So that would be a good example of a help that you could search if you needed to delete a course if you added the wrong humanities code. Is that where you would go to get that?
If you add a humanities code or the wrong humanities code, you will have to email the teacher of that course. Whoever's listed as the teacher, they're the only ones who can unenroll you. As you can see myself, I've enrolled myself in a course, as I showed you earlier, that is owned by Schoology. And so I have to contact Schoology, back to my homepage. I have to contact Schoology to get this course removed because they are the teacher of record. So I can't just remove it myself as a parent.
Perfect. I had a parent that just wanted clarification on one thing, and I love how they phrased it, so I'm going to read it directly. So a student must always log via ClassLink and then Schoology, right?
Correct. Absolutely. ClassLink every time, and you will not run into the problems.
And And a parent must always log in directly via Schoology.com, right?
That is correct. Schoology.com will take you where you want to as a parent. When we have had problems over the last couple of days, almost every time it has been either a student is not going through ClassLink or the parent was trying to log in through their child's same login screen. That won't help. So yes, as clear as can be, kids through ClassLink, parents through Schoology.com. That is the best way to go about it.
When a parent sets up notifications, do those notifications apply to both children or all children under the parent account?
You can go to your settings under each kid's account, and I'll show you what different notifications look like. But the ones on the first screen, the ones you set here, these are going to apply globally to all of the kids on your account. When you go to your individual children and you click on their settings, you will have the opportunity to get notifications about your child through what's called a parent digest. So you won't necessarily change the same account settings as you did elsewhere, but you can set up a digest. And I'll show you an example. I sent myself one as a parent. You'll grab it here. So here's one I had myself sent this morning. And so email came into me this morning from Schoology and said, here's Malachi's course summary. Now, of course, there's not a whole lot going on. And again, he's got 16 courses because his second semester courses are there. It does say he has an overdue submission already. Third day of school, he's already got a late assignment, but I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation for it. But it would give me grading and stuff here. We don't take attendance in Schoology, so you're not going to see that here, but it is going to give you a lot of information. Anything that's overdue, anything that's coming up, and you can set this to be sent to you daily or weekly. And then here's my second child. And again, anytime I touch one of these hyperlinks, it takes me to that thing. But if I'm not logged in, I have to log in, but it will take me to that page. So if I want to go straight to the speech and language, or I want to see what this assignment is that's hyperlinked here and see why it's overdue and what did you not do this week, or I can click on any of these hyperlinks at all. It'll take me, again, I have to log in, but it will take me directly there. So I have a nice convenient way of seeing a good picture of what my child has been up to and what is going on in Schoology.
Quick question about, quite a few people are asking, they have a Schoology account that's already linked to a different school that they no longer attend, and they're getting an error code that's saying it's already in use. How can they log in if they have an existing account at another school?
So I believe you'll have to contact Schoology to have the other account disassociated. We don't have any control over that because it's a parent account. But I do know that if you go to your account here, like the one you have, and you link the accounts where I showed you here down the bottom, I believe you can have both. And then what will happen is when you drop down, you'll see your name twice for the two accounts you have. But you can get in contact with Schoology through their support desk and ask them to disassociate you with that school, or contact the school and ask them to disassociate you. We can't disconnect you from another school because we don't have control over their accounts. But you can ask them to unlink that for you so that the email address. I had an email address I was already using for a fake student account where I was playing around as an administrator. So I had to use a different email address because I was causing a conflict. So I just used kind of my third email address and an iCloud address that I just used to log in here. And eventually I'll change it to my real email address once I stop using it for that student account. Anything else, Rebecca, before we talk about some of these other features?
Not right now, keep going.
So we'll go back to a child's account again. We talked about courses. Again, this is how I can get in. My student can have groups. So this is where we might see clubs, athletics, anybody that wants to create a group, or even a group of your friends who are studying together and you created a group together. This is where it would be. And then their grade report. This is going to show you if there are grades available that you'll see by class. You can see each class and what the grades are. Again, right now there's nothing there because we haven't really done a whole lot just yet. But this is where you see them. And again, you'll only see 8 once we clean these up. Right now you're seeing first and second semester, and then you can download a report which will show you everything. That's when you have that meeting with them at night and say, can you explain this to me? And here's all of that information for you at your fingertips. So those 3 will be on each of your children's, and it'll be specific to that child. So this is all for my son. And again, if I switch accounts, I can see the exact same thing for my daughter. Same thing, grade reports will be by the 8 classes she has. My courses will be her 8 courses at the middle school. And then I can, again, the notification, now again, the settings here, when I do a digest, I get a digest. I'm going to get both kids, but you can make it happen in either account. Okay, so those are those important parts here. And then each of your children has a calendar, which you can view, and that calendar is automatically populated anytime a teacher puts something in that's due. So if there's a teacher who's put something on their calendar, it's right here. Your child can also add to their own calendar if they want reminders like, don't forget to grab my social studies book. They can add to their own calendar. They also have the ability in their account to link their calendar to their Google calendar if they use one. So they could merge the two and then they would show up in one spot. And then they color code things here. Again, you can't change this because it's not your calendar, but you can view it as a kid and you can link to, so this assignment, if I want to see what that assignment was, it'll pull it up and there's a link to it right there. I can actually see it. And again, we have the private issue because we have the link, but we'll work through those things. But you will be able to access them. You just can't add to the calendar because it's not your calendar. You have your own on that first page. So again, my son has his own calendar and I can see all of his assignments separately. You can show it by week, you can show it by day. It defaults to month. Jen, is there anything to this point that you want to add? Anything that I might have missed or that's important that makes sense here?
I don't think so. The only, I was looking through the Q&A, there were some questions about, I don't believe we can combine calendars. So you would have to view each student individually.
As far as we are aware, you will have to view them individually. I think that is a convenience, but I don't know. We'll take a look though. If we do, we'll post it as part of our FAQ. But we don't, at this point, we have not seen that combination occur. I think part of that is because it would become overwhelming because beige would always be beige and you wouldn't be able to tell whose beige it is. I think that's why they do them separately. They do use these colors so that you can see the difference between what the event was for. So anything in this kind of orangey beige is related to their courses. I think that's part of the reason why. Anything else, Jen?
Not right now. I'm sure there will be a few more questions that I can answer.
All right, so we've shown you how to sign up for the digest. I'll just refresh one more time to make sure. So again, profile here is only my profile. I can't change anyone else's, even if I'm logged in as a student. But I do have access again to the school resources and then the settings where again, I can change my own account settings, but this notification tab is available under my students' names where I can get that sent to me daily or weekly. I can choose what time of day and I can tell them whether I want them to let me know about overdue assignments. If you turn this on, the moment an assignment is due and it's not turned in, an email will be generated to you saying your child missed X assignment and make you aware of it. If you don't want those submissions, you just change it to off. I do believe it's defaulted to off. I know I turned mine on already as a parent. So that's up to you to decide, but this is a really important feature that I think a lot of parents are going to appreciate because it gives them such detailed information. I'm not a daily guy. I'm going to switch this. I only did this today so I could get it sent to me. Or you can actually pick the day of the week as well. I think mine comes on Friday at 5 o'clock. Whatever works for you, it's certainly your decision to make. But I'm going to change this to back because I can't do daily. It's too much for me, but it's certainly up to you to decide. So we've looked at that. We looked at courses, groups, and grade reports. And
Erin, I have a few questions about assignments that I'm hoping you can shed some light on. So one of the questions, a couple of the questions actually were parents can see when things are overdue. How do they know when a student has submitted an assignment? Do they?
Jen, are they able to see it when it's, you shared that when it's submitted, they can see it, right?
Correct. If you go into the recent activities, I can see, let me pull up. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, if that's okay. And once again, this is my daughter's account. So I'm okay sharing this information. I can see student activity that she has submitted these 2 assignments. So I can see what is submitted. And I know that those are completed.
And that's why I wasn't seeing anything, because my son hasn't sent anything in. Obviously, he's already missing an assignment, so, but he hasn't sent anything at this point, so I don't have that same thing, but it's good to know. So again, that's that toggling between student activity and enrollments.
Yep. Now, if you notice, I'm logged in as my daughter. When I'm logged in as my husband, there's nothing there because he's not in a course, he's not in a group. So if I want to see what's going on in my daughter's class, I actually need to switch to her to get this information. So if you log in and realize there's nothing there, there's no upcoming assignments, oh my gosh, what's going on? I check the calendar, there's nothing there. That's because I'm my husband right now. And but when I log into my daughter, it does show me what's been turned in and all the different activities that she has coming up.
Another question about Schoology that's coming in, assignments. Are teachers required to put in Schoology assignments through Schoology?
It will be our expectation, yes. Again, we're only 3 days in, 2.5 days in, so it will be our expectation that the assignments be posted. So the upcoming makes sense. And again, as soon as a teacher creates an assignment, they don't have to post it. It just posts for them. Once they create it and click save, it automatically posts it. So they don't have to remember to do that. You just probably aren't seeing a whole lot yet, being that it's just the real start of the school year. Go ahead.
To make assignments ungraded. Show up in the grade book, so it won't show up on the side. I gave my students yesterday an ungraded assignment to change their bio picture if they chose to. So that's not going to show up in the assignments because I'm not going to grade that. So there are different options with assignments. Some are graded, some are ungraded. Ungraded assignments, if a teacher sets it up that way, they're not going to show up as missing or even in the grade book.
Great. Erin, Jenna, if a student is logging on using their personal Chromebook, do they need to log into their Chromebook with the Northville Public Schools email account?
Yes.
If a student wants to log in a student account, they should log in their Northville school. So my son's Chromebook, he has 2 accounts, his personal one and his school one. And he knows in the morning he has to log into his school one in order to get into ClassLink and Schoology and make sure that all the documents are viewable and that the Zooms work. By the way, if you aren't logged into your Northville account as a student, the Zooms won't launch because it doesn't recognize you. Those accounts are attached to his Google domain. So it's important that they do so. Even if they have multiple accounts on their Chromebook, they should log in as their Northville one first in the morning.
Great. I'm going to move over to grading for a minute. How does MyStar and Schoology interact? Are the grades and assignment kept in both systems?
So it's a great question. I appreciate asking. So the teachers will be keeping their grade books in Schoology at this point. MyStar will only be for those non-academic things like lunch or attendance. The only thing at the end of a card marking, because it's our county system, the report cards get generated from there. So the grades will be pushed back to MyStar, just the final letter grade for the middle school and high school. So all the stuff you're going to watch is always going to be in Schoology. You won't have a lot of reasons to go to MyStar except when it's time to print the report card. You do have to print it there because that is our county system. And that's where their attendance is kept as well. Because of pupil accounting and requirements from the state, it has to be done there. So you will access grades solely in Schoology on a day-by-day basis. That's where you always want to be.
Okay, one more question before we talk about the Schoology app a little bit more. We've had quite a few comments and questions and wonderings about sometimes courses, the intro slide or the introduction, it's taking up all the real estate on the Schoology account, and kids can't see other information. Can you comment on that?
Actually, I believe there was an issue with my account in that, and the parent was using an older version of Internet Explorer. So I would suggest using Chrome, that it won't take up those extra spaces.
And you want to make sure that your Chrome is updated. They did release an update 85 recently, and anytime you're running an old version, sometimes it can cause problems, but it typically is a browser issue or potentially a computer issue. It's oftentimes not, because We know so because when people have reported it, when we log in, we don't see the same thing. So it's not inside of Schoology. It typically is something going on in the device that's being used. So you want to make sure, again, you open Chrome, not Firefox or Internet Explorer, and that you're using the latest version. It typically gives us the best results.
Got lots of questions about the Schoology app. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, so there is an app for Schoology. You can go to your app store or Google Play and you can download the app. I can't pull up on my computer because it's an app, but it will look just like what you saw today. It's actually kind of a micro version, and you'll again access your kids there. You can access everything we talked about today through that app, but you do want to go get the app. You don't want to go to Schoology.com on your phone. It's much more glitchy. You want to download the app from the App Store, from Google Play, and then use it. But it will do everything that you saw here today you can do on your phone. It's just a smaller version and a little bit more, harder to maneuver with the fingers, but it does give you all those same connections. So we encourage you to do that if it's something that you use on a regular basis or you just want to have it mobile. Were there questions specific about the app itself, or just do we have an app and does it work?
Yeah, can I use it? Is it available? Does it work like the website?
I don't know if this will work or not, but we'll try. I have the app loaded on my phone. I'll hold it up to the camera. We'll see.
I've got it, Erin.
What's that?
This is my parent account, and I've chosen to look at Molly's, and it's the exact same thing that I see online.
So you can see it's just a micro version, and you'll see even at the top where it says Courses Group More, that's because it ran out of real estate. If you click More, you'll see the grade report in there. It's just that there's not enough room to put it across the top, so it made a drop-down menu. So that's where you'll see the rest of it, and where you'll change your child's name if you have more than one child. So the app works identically, and I have found it to be really useful. I use it for the last few days. I've been practicing with a lot of things over the last couple of weeks. My kids have been guinea pigs. So their account's been used a lot because it's just been very helpful to have real examples for us.
Should students log out at the end of the day and back in the next morning, or can they stay logged in?
It does not require them to log out. If you want to, for safety reasons, if someone else may be accessing your computer or two kids are sharing one, it might be good practice, but there's no reason they have to. Frankly, it will log them out eventually anyway after a certain amount of time of inactivity, and they'll probably have to log in the next day again anyway. That's true with ClassLink and Schoology. So you're not likely going to open it back up the next morning and it just be ready to go. You'll have to log in again, but you don't have to need to log out unless you're concerned about someone accessing your computer after your child is done, and you don't want them. Like if you were using a library computer or something he borrowed from a friend, he'd want to log out so that someone else doesn't have access to his account.
Are there any issues that you know of with the profile picture function not working properly?
Not that I'm aware of. I've done my own. My wife actually added hers. I don't have one on my parent account, but I have one on my school account. I haven't had time to add one to my parent account, but we have not heard of any issues. It may be the number of pixels or the kind of, whether it's a JPEG or a GIF, all those things can maybe be different depending on where you're uploading it from, but most of our teachers have been able to upload some version, whether it's a Bitmoji or a real picture or a cartoon picture. We have not heard any of that. So if there's an individual issue, we can help you troubleshoot that, but we think it should not be hard. I know my daughter did as well, by the way. She asked me, can I put a profile picture? Fire away, as long as it's appropriate, I don't care.
In ClassLink, they have to use one of the pre-made icons, but in Schoology, they can put their picture.
Okay, I'm just kind of going through some of these questions. I have a couple of folks have talked about they have their Google account linked. It's the wrong Google account in Schoology. How do they get that unlinked?
That is a great question. I don't know if we've ever answered that one. I'm certain there has to be a way for us to do so. I would probably myself have to Google that or to talk to Schoology directly. I'm going to write the question down. Unlink Google account. That's a new one for us. So we're always encountering new things. So I will try to discover that. If you want the individual who asked the question, if you want to email us, we'll try to get an answer for you and get that back to you. But I don't know offhand.
What's the email address?
You can either email nps@northvilleschools.org or you can email me directly. My last name, first two initials. It's going to be hard to spell because people don't know how to spell, but it's BAUGHMANAA for Aaron, and at northfieldschools.org. All teachers are always at northfieldschools.org. It's typically their last name and first two initials. There are exceptions when we have names like Brown and others where they're common. Sometimes they use multiple letters. So, but my email address is on the district webpage under departments. Click instruction, and myself and Dr. Brock are listed there, and our email addresses as well.
Question about a parent access code. If a husband has a different, does a husband have a different access code for Schoology, or can he use mine to establish an account?
You should only have one for each child, and that can be used up to 3 times for each child. So I would share that same code. If he calls us, we would give him the same code we gave you. And we did have a question come up this morning. I have a caretaker who's taking care of my kids during the day, and I want them to have access. It's your choice to make. You have 3 uses of that code. Who you give it to is completely up to you. We don't give it to anyone without your permission. We will verify that it's you. But if you choose to give that to step parent or husband or someone who's taking care of them, you're welcome to do so. But it's just 1 per kid. If you have an issue and it doesn't work, we can reset it. But again, it'll still just be 1. And if we reset it, it won't mess up the person who's already logged in. It just can't be used again. So we can reset it and fix it. And then the person who has used it already will still be fine. It's not going to kick them out of the system. It just, that code is no longer viable for new people.
Got it. Well, I think we've gone into almost all of the questions. I'm not seeing any repeats at this point. And thank you for everybody that's showing your appreciation in the Q&A. We appreciate that feedback, as well as all of the questions that you've asked today.
Someone did ask a question I'm seeing here, how in-person would look when we started back. So obviously the level you're at is going to change the way it looks for you. For example, our elementary kids are going to be back every day in very small groups. So if you're in person there, Schoology is going to become somewhat used in class, somewhat a place to keep homework, but always still a very important tool. If you're a middle school student, every other day you're at home doing asynchronous or synchronous work with a teacher, Schoology is going to be just as important. Your core teachers might use it differently than your elective teachers because one's in person and one's at home. So you may be a lot more dependent on it in electives because they're at home, or if we were to all be put back into quarantine, God forbid. But your core teachers are likely going to be doing most of the work with them face-to-face, and that will, again, Schoology will be kind of homework and where they keep things and posting resources that kids, like I forgot the worksheet, I need an extra copy, that kind of thing. At the high school level, it will be just as important as the electives at the middle school level because they're on and off every day. So I'm doing math today at home, math tomorrow on Schoology. So those lessons will kind of be on and off. So regardless, you'll always be dependent on Schoology from now until forever. This is not a COVID-19 thing. This is a learning management system that we intend to have as part of our DNA for the foreseeable future. We want a place where everything can be, everyone knows where to count on it, everyone can get to one place, one time, one password, and you can find everything there. You're not going to a bunch of different places. It was heard loud and clear in the spring that that was a concern.
One more question about the parent access code. Do you use that access code to create an account in Schoology?
Say that one more time.
Do you use the access code to create an account in Schoology?
You have to have the parent access code to create an account. So when you click sign up on the Schoology page, I'll show you the screen. Again, it won't do it for me because I already have an account. But when I click, oh, where did it go? Oh, I think I just put you on my TV. You're probably seeing a blank screen now.
Ew.
I have a third monitor, and I think I just shared that. So what you would see when you log in is a Schoology page, and you would click sign up. And when you click sign up, the very first thing it's going to ask you for is an access code. So if you don't have an access code, you can't create an account. So you have to have that access code in order to do that. And it'll say right on the top, please enter the access code that your school provided you.
Can you show, I think you're going to have to figure this screen thing out, or Ms. Lawson can jump in. Can you show us one more time where to find kids' assignments?
Yep, I'm gonna.
Sure. I'll go ahead and share. Oops, I just opened the chat. I'll share my screen. And so when you go into, so your own adult parent account looks like this. There's not going to be any assignments for your child here. What you will need to do is switch to the child's account. And that's where you will see what's been graded. Graded assignments, tests, quizzes. I checked this morning, there was nothing graded. I see what's coming up, and then I see here what has been submitted. So you will have to switch to your child's account. Once again, parent account is for you, your courses, your groups, and viewing is Molly. This is where I got her courses, her groups, and her grade report.
I do see a couple of other questions I can answer. We've got just a couple of minutes left here. How do I know if my kid missed class? Because I like getting daily attendance. So you can expect the same procedures for attendance. If your child misses a class at the high school, middle school, or elementary, you'll get a phone call at the time that you normally would get it every day because it's still coming from MyStar. It'll tell you that a child missed an hour or more during the day. Typically, we'll tell you what hour, unless it's a full day. And you can still log into your parent portal in MyStar. It's not gone, and you can still see their attendance there. We just have to track it in MyStar because of our connection to the county and the state requirements for pupil accounting. We can't put it in Schoology because it has to be connected to the county system. Then I saw also one that says, is there a way to let teacher know if I'm dropped from a Zoom? You can message your teacher in Schoology. So if I go to the Schoology account, I think I got the right one this time. Maybe, no. Let's try that one. Wrong screen. Here we go. So if I go to my Schoology account as a student, there would be a mail message here, and I'm going to go to the parent section just so you can see it. But you'd see this message here, and I can click new message as a student, and I can type the teacher's name, and as I start typing it like Mrs. Lawson, it will automatically populate. Mrs. Lawson has 2 accounts because she's got a system admin role, but this is her teacher role. And if I click it here and start a message, I can send it to her and she'll be notified in Schoology that there's a message and she will see what's happening. You also can send an old-fashioned email. That's also doable as well. But you can message your teachers that way. There was one other one I'm going to go take a look at. Go back to the Q&A here. Do we still submit a form online for a partial full day absence? Yes, again, nothing changes about attendance. So whatever the policy or procedure is at that school that you're at, because elementary, middle, high are a little bit different, you want to follow that same procedure. Typically that's communicated to you through those kind of weekly or monthly newsletters. Most of the those procedures have already been communicated. You can certainly check with your school's office if you have a question. Looking through the questions here. What app do we get? Apple Store on iPhone has Schoology or Schoology Parent. Well, I downloaded Schoology. I didn't see Schoology Parent, and it works just fine for me. I'm not sure if there's a reason why. I'm looking in my app store right now.
I downloaded the Schoology app as well. I didn't see the parent app. So
go with the one that looks like,
this is, excuse my other apps.
go with the one that has S on it, because the other could be a third-party app that may be something to. So you want to go to the one that has that kind of blue circle with a black S in the center that has the Schoology logo. I don't think there are 2 apps. That other one may be a third-party app that's been developed to kind of connect to Schoology. I don't know anything about it, but I would just go with the Schoology app.
Is there a mail icon when signed in onto the child's account? I have a parent that's seeing it on the parent account, but not seeing the email icon on the child's account.
So I can log in as my son and show you there should be. It should be an option for you. Is my Schoology screen showing?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to log out of my parent account and I'm going to log in as my son. Oh, see, I almost made the same mistake. You see what I just did? I almost tried to log in as him, even though I wasn't in the right place, and I would have gotten an error message because I did so. So I'm gonna go to ClassLink like I'm supposed to, and I'm gonna log in as him. See, I just did that to show you all what's gonna happen. I wouldn't. So here's my son's ClassLink page. Again, a little less clutter than mine, and taking him directly to Schoology, except I forgot to log out, so it's gonna still log me in here.
Erin, I have my daughters pulled up if you want me to.
Yes, I'm gonna stop sharing. Go ahead.
Okay. So I have logged in as my daughter now, and so this is her actual account right now. And there is that icon to email, calendar. I do want to stop sharing my screen just because there were other student names that popped up on there, so I apologize. But yes, that email account, that email icon is there.
And if it's not, let us know, because it should be. So it is 11, unless there are other questions. If you have individual concerns or things that are unique to your child's or your account that don't seem like the norm, if they're not general questions, feel free to email us and we will look into the issue and try to get you assistance. We've been hosting a lot of those. Whatever, again, sometimes you bring something up that we didn't know was an issue and it helps us to uncover it so we can make sure it doesn't happen to others. So please share those with us. So to clarify, no, my icon for student in Schoology, but is there in class incorrect? There should not be a mail icon in ClassLink if that was the question. The mail link should only be in Schoology. You should not have an email opportunity in ClassLink. It's just the place to hold all the resources. It doesn't have that kind of communication ability. Again, it's just the fence surrounding all the resources.
I believe there is a Gmail icon in Schoology though, or in ClassLink. So you can do Gmail.
Yeah, and that's going to take them to their, I'm glad you said that, because we have all their Google Apps loaded. So there is the Gmail account, which takes them to their school email account. So it will load them automatically and take them just like they went to mail. So yes, that is there. What is not there is like ability to communicate like you would see in the others. You know, there's not a teacher can send messages to kids, but it doesn't work the way Schoology does. Anything else, Jen, you think is important, or Rebecca? And I want to thank Rebecca Peck. She's our Director of Personnel and Quality Assurance here, and she's been really helpful helping us today getting this Q&A together. So thank you to her. And thank you all for coming. Appreciate what a great turnout there is. If you have any further questions, again, nps@northwellschools.org or myself, instruction department. Jen, any other questions or thoughts you have before we go?
I think we've covered it. You know, reach out, ask your teacher. Feel free to reach out to me as well if there's questions, and we'll help you as best as we can.
Okay, and again, this is recorded. Once we get it downloaded, we'll post it. So if you had 1,000 things that you were trying to remember and you don't remember, you'll be able to go back and look and see what we said and review the information. All right, thank you all for coming. Have a great day. We'll see you all later.